Ladies, listen up. The world tells you to be nice, to fit in, to wait for love to find you. But that's a lie. A high-value woman does not chase, she attracts. She does not beg, she chooses. And she does not shrink, she rises. If you want to command the respect, love, and success you deserve, then stay with me. Because today, I'm going to tell you exactly how to become that woman. The kind of woman who walks into a room, and the whole world takes notice. There's something dangerously beautiful about a woman who knows her worth. She walks into a room and people feel her presence before she even speaks. It's not arrogance, it's certainty. It's the knowing that she is not here to be chosen, but to choose. That she is not here to beg for attention, but to command respect. Yet too many women shrink themselves, handing out discounts on their worth like a clearance sale. Why? Because someone told them they were too much, too confident, too bold, too independent, too successful. But let me ask you, who benefits when you make yourself small? Certainly not you. Picture this. A woman sits across from a man at dinner. She is elegant, intelligent, and kind. She laughs at his jokes, listens to his stories, and brings warmth to the conversation. But when the bill arrives, so does his true character. He slides it toward her, smirking. You're a modern woman, right? Equality and all that? She pauses, smiles, and then says, oh, sweetheart, equality isn't me paying for dinner. It's you recognizing that a woman like me is an investment, not an expense. And with that, she stands up and walks away. That's a woman who knows her worth and adds tax. Because the truth is, life will always test you. It will throw people at you who will try to see just how little you will accept, how far you will bend, how many times you will let them cross the lines of respect. And every time you allow it, you silently tell the world, I am available for this treatment. But when you know your worth, you don't waste time proving it. You simply refuse to accept anything less. Think about diamonds. A diamond doesn't beg to be valued. It doesn't sit in a store window hoping someone will see its beauty. It just is. Rare, untouchable, and worth every penny. The ones who can afford it, the ones who understand its value, will pay the price. The ones who can't, well, they can admire from a distance. And yet so many women are like diamonds trapped in the wrong hands. Polished, stunning, but given away for nothing. A woman settles for a job that underpays her because she doesn't want to ask for a raise. She stays in a relationship where she's treated like an option because she fears being alone. She accepts friends who drain her energy because she doesn't want to seem difficult. But tell me, when did being difficult become a bad thing? Since when did demanding what you deserve become something to be ashamed of? Imagine this. A young woman is at work. She's been at her job for 3 years, outperforming everyone, taking on extra responsibilities, and proving her brilliance. Yet, when promotion time comes, her male colleague, who does the bare minimum, gets it instead. She could swallow her disappointment, accept her fate, and keep working harder, hoping someone notices. Or she could walk into that office, look her boss straight in the eye and say, I know what I bring to this company, and if you can't recognize it, someone else will. That is knowing your worth. That is adding tax. When you truly understand your value, you stop being afraid of losing people. You stop explaining yourself to those who don't respect you. You stop feeling guilty for expecting more. And the best part, when you start treating yourself like a woman of worth, the world has no choice but to follow. Think of the most powerful women in history. Do you think they asked permission to take up space? Do you think they hesitated before demanding what they deserved? No. They owned their worth. They didn't negotiate their greatness. They didn't apologize for their success. And neither should you. Your time, your energy, your love. These are luxuries, not freebies. You are not a trial version that people get to test and throw away when they are done. You are the full package. The premium edition, the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And anyone who wants access to you needs to pay the full price. Picture a woman standing in front of a mirror, adjusting her dress before a big event. She takes one last look at herself and whispers, I am a force. I am a woman of standards. I am not here to impress. I am here to be remembered. And the moment she steps outside, the world feels it. Because when you finally realize just how powerful, valuable, and rare you are, everything changes. You walk differently, you speak differently, you choose differently, and most importantly, you never settle again. There is a power that very few people ever master. It is not in loud words, not in dramatic gestures, not in shouting to be heard. It is in silence. The kind of silence that makes people uncomfortable. The kind of silence that demands respect. The kind of silence that speaks louder than any words ever could. Most people waste their energy trying to explain themselves, trying to prove their worth, trying to argue their side of the story. But a woman who has mastered the art of silence knows that real power is in restraint. She doesn't need to tell the world who she is. She shows it. She doesn't need to beg for respect. She commands it. Imagine this. A woman walks into a room and instead of announcing her presence, she simply exists. Graceful, poised, unshaken. She doesn't rush to fill the silence with meaningless chatter. She doesn't force herself into conversations just to be noticed. And yet, people notice. They wonder who she is. They feel her energy. They sense her confidence. Because silence is a language only the strong can speak fluently. In a world that constantly pressures women to explain, justify, and prove themselves, there is nothing more powerful than a woman who chooses silence. A woman who doesn't argue with fools. A woman who doesn't react to disrespect. A woman who doesn't waste words where action is enough. Think of a queen. A queen doesn't scream for attention. She doesn't lower herself to pettiness. She sits on her throne, watches and decides. And when she does speak, every word is calculated, measured, and full of weight. That is the power of a woman who knows when to be silent. Picture a woman in a relationship. She catches her man lying to her. He starts explaining, over-explaining, twisting words, making excuses. She could yell, she could cry, she could argue. But instead she does something far more powerful. She pauses. She looks him in the eye. She lets the silence hang between them, thick with unspoken words. And in that silence, he realizes something terrifying. She is not going to beg for honesty. She is not going to fight for something that should have been hers freely. And that silence, it is louder than any argument she could have ever had. A woman who understands silence never chases closure. She doesn't sit around waiting for an apology that may never come. She doesn't replay conversations in her head wondering what she should have said. She simply lets it be. Because she knows that silence is an answer too. Think about nature. The ocean doesn't explain why it's powerful, it just is. A lion doesn't beg to be feared, it just is. And a high-value woman doesn't demand respect, she embodies it. Silence is also the greatest weapon against those who try to break you. They expect a reaction, they expect you to scream, to fight, to lose control, but when you respond with silence, they are left powerless. It frustrates them, it confuses them, it forces them to sit alone with their own guilt. Because nothing is more unsettling than a woman who simply walks away without another word. Imagine a workplace. A woman gets overlooked for a promotion she knows she deserved. She could complain, she could cry about the unfairness. Instead, she does something even smarter. She stays silent, keeps working, and within months she is so undeniable that another company offers her double the salary, and just like that, her silence turns into her greatest victory. People often think silence is weakness. But real silence, the kind that comes from control, confidence, and wisdom, is the loudest thing in the world. It makes people listen when you finally do speak. It makes people respect your presence. And most importantly, it makes you untouchable. There is a reason why mystery is attractive. A woman who talks too much, explains too much, reveals too much, she gives away her power. But a woman who speaks when necessary and remains silent when needed, she is unforgettable. Imagine a social gathering. A group of people is gossiping, tearing someone down. A woman listens but says nothing. She doesn't join the conversation, doesn't feed into the negativity. And because she stays quiet, everyone wonders, what is she thinking? And just like that, she becomes the most intriguing person in the room. Silence is not just about saying nothing. It's about saying everything without speaking at all. It's the way you walk away from what no longer serves to ignore. She doesn't scream for attention. She becomes someone people can't help but notice. Imagine walking into a room and commanding presence without saying a word. You're not the loudest. You're not the one trying to impress everyone. But people feel your energy. They feel the confidence radiating from you. They want to know who you are. That's what it means to attract. You don't beg for people's time. You don't force connections. You don't try to prove your worth. You just exist in your power. And the right people, the right opportunities, the right energy, they come to you. Think about a queen. A queen doesn't run after a king. She holds herself in such high regard that the king recognizes her value and comes to her. A queen doesn't convince people of her worth. She simply carries herself in a way that makes them recognize it on their own. That is the mindset of a high-value woman. Picture a woman in love. She texts him first every time. She constantly asks when they can meet. She adjusts her schedule, cancels plans, and puts in all the effort. What happens? He loses interest. He sees her as too available, too eager, too desperate. Now imagine a different woman. One who is so busy living her best life that he has to fight for a moment of her time. She's not ignoring him. She's just focused on herself. And suddenly, he can't stop thinking about her. He wonders what she's doing, who she's with, what's on her mind. That's the power of attraction. People don't chase what's easy to get. They chase what they fear losing. If you make yourself too available, too accessible, too willing to please, people take you for granted. But the moment you step back, the moment you start prioritizing yourself, everything shifts. They start noticing you. They start valuing your presence. They start wondering why you are so unbothered, why you aren't trying so hard. And that mystery, it's magnetic. Think of a job interview. A woman walks in nervous, desperate to be hired. She says everything they want to hear, agrees to every condition, lowers her standards just to get the job. The company sees her eagerness and offers her the bare minimum. But then there's another woman. She walks in confident, knowing she is an asset. She doesn't beg for the job. She talks about what she brings to the table. She knows her worth and adds tax. And because of that, the company offers her more just to secure her. That's attraction. That's the power of standing in your value. The same applies to friendships. Ever notice how the people you chase the most are the ones who pull away? The more you try to prove your loyalty, the more they overlook you. But the moment you start living for yourself, the moment you stop checking in so much, the moment you stop being the one who always gives, suddenly they realize your absence. They start calling, they start asking what's changed. That's attraction. Even in the animal kingdom, the lioness doesn't chase, she waits. The strongest, most dominant males fight for her attention. She doesn't run after them. She doesn't beg for their time. She stands tall, fierce, unshaken. And because of that, they recognize her as the prize. That's the mindset of a high-value woman. Chasing is rooted in fear. Fear of being alone, fear of missing out, fear of not being enough. Attraction is rooted in power. The power of knowing you deserve more than breadcrumbs. Think about the most successful women in the world. Do they chase after validation? Do they run after people who don't see their worth? No. They focus on building themselves. They focus on their purpose. And because they do that, people come to them. Brands want to collaborate with them. Powerful people want to connect with them. Opportunities flow to them effortlessly. That is the power of attraction. There is nothing more desirable than a woman who is so focused on her own happiness, her own growth, her own success, that she does not need anyone to complete her. She is already whole. She doesn't chase love, but love finds her. She doesn't chase opportunities, but doors open for her. She doesn't chase friendships, but the right people gravitate towards her. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth. You do not need to run after what is meant for you. You just need to stand tall, be your best self, and let the world come to you. Because when you operate at your highest frequency, everything that belongs to you will align with you effortlessly. A diamond is one of the rarest, most valuable treasures on this planet. Not everyone can have access to it. Not everyone can afford it. Your energy is no different. It is the most precious thing you own. Yet so many people give it away carelessly, draining themselves for those who don't appreciate it. A high-value woman understands that her energy is sacred and she protects it like a diamond. Because once it's wasted, it doesn't come back the same way. Imagine walking into a room full of people. Some of them uplift you, inspire you, and make you feel like you can conquer the world. Others drain you, criticize you, and fill the air with negativity. Now, if you were holding a real diamond in your hand, would you just throw it on the table for anyone to take? No, you would guard it. You would make sure it is in the right hands, in the right place, where it is valued. That is exactly how you should treat your energy. Think of a phone battery. You don't just leave your phone running with 100 apps open, wasting its charge on things that don't matter. You use it wisely, recharge it, and make sure it lasts for the most important things. But when it comes to our own energy, we allow toxic people, useless drama, and meaningless stress to drain us until there is nothing left for ourselves. A high-value woman doesn't operate that way. She sets boundaries. She knows when to say no. She understands that not everyone deserves access to her peace, her kindness, or her time. There are people who thrive on your energy, taking, and taking without ever giving back. You know who they are. The ones who call you only when they need something. The ones who unload their problems on you but never listen when you need support. The ones who constantly bring negativity into your life but disappear when you need encouragement. Protecting your energy means recognizing these people and distancing yourself. Not everyone deserves your light. Imagine a candle. If you keep lighting everyone else's fire while neglecting your own, eventually you will burn out. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give your best to the world, priceless and untouchable. Be like a diamond, protect your shine. Think about social media. Every day, people waste hours scrolling, absorbing negativity, comparing their lives to others, and feeding their minds with unnecessary drama. That is energy being wasted. A high-value woman understands that whatever she consumes, whether it's conversations, social media, or the people she surrounds herself with, affects her energy. She does not allow anything toxic to enter her space. She is intentional with her focus because she knows that whatever drains her controls her. Even in friendships, not everyone deserves access to you. There are friends who support your dreams and there are those who secretly hope you fail. There are those who clap for you in public but envy you in private. A high-value woman discerns the difference. She does not entertain fake friendships or waste her energy proving herself to people who do not respect her. She walks away from anything that does not align with her peace because she knows that her energy is too valuable to be wasted on those who don't appreciate it. Think about the most successful people in the world. Do they spend their energy explaining themselves to haters? Do they waste time in gossip, drama, or negativity? No. They focus on their purpose, their growth, their peace. They invest their energy where it truly matters. That is the mindset of a high-value woman. Your energy is the key to your success, your happiness, and your power. Protect it like a diamond. Guard it with everything you have. Because once you do, you will realize that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right life will align with you effortlessly. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who refuses to remain the same. A woman who looks at her life and says, "This is not where my story ends." A woman who wakes up every day with the mindset to be better than she was yesterday. That is the essence of leveling up. Refusing to settle, refusing to be stagnant, and refusing to let life pass you by while you watch others succeed. A high-value woman understands that in every area of her life, she has the power to elevate, transform, and become the best version of herself. Imagine walking into a gym for the first time. The weights feel heavy, your body resists, and everything seems impossible. But if you keep showing up, pushing through the discomfort and challenging yourself daily, something magical happens. Your strength increases, your endurance builds, and the things that once seemed impossible become effortless. Life is no different. Every challenge, every setback, every obstacle is a weight designed to make you stronger, but only if you push through. A woman who levels up understands that growth is uncomfortable, but staying the same is unbearable. Think about the most successful women in the world. Do you think they reach their level by making excuses, by waiting for the perfect moment, by hoping things would change without taking action? No. They leveled up because they demanded more from themselves. They invested in their skills, expanded their knowledge, and took control of their destinies. A high-value woman never waits for opportunities. She creates them. She does not sit around hoping for things to improve. She takes action. She knows that her future is shaped by the choices she makes today. A woman who levels up does not settle for mediocrity. She refuses to live the same year over and over again, calling it a life. She understands that if she wants more, she has to become more. That means investing in herself, whether it's reading books, learning new skills, taking courses, or surrounding herself with people who challenge her to grow. She does not waste time on things that do not serve her future. She does not entertain negativity, drama, or anything that keeps her stagnant. Think about your mindset. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you keep telling yourself, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, or I'll never be successful, then that is exactly what your life will reflect. But if you wake up every day with the mindset that you are capable, that you are powerful, and that you are worthy of everything you desire, your entire world will shift. A high-value woman controls her thoughts, protects her mind, and feeds herself nothing but greatness. Now let's talk about finances. A woman who levels up does not rely on anyone to save her. She does not wait for a man, a job, or a lucky break to give her financial freedom. She educates herself. She learns how to make money, how to invest, and how to secure her future. She knows that dependence is dangerous, and she refuses to put her financial well-being in anyone else's hands. A high-value woman builds her own empire. She does not shrink herself or apologize for wanting a luxurious life. She goes after it fearlessly because she knows she deserves it. A woman who levels up also elevates her standards. She does not tolerate half-hearted love, inconsistent people, or relationships that drain her. She does not waste her energy on someone who does not respect her, value her, or see her worth. She understands that love should add to her life, not take away from it. She chooses partners who match her energy, who inspire her to grow, and who appreciate her for who she is. She walks away from anything that does not align with the future she is building. Health is another area where a woman must level up. She understands that her body is her temple and she treats it with care. She fuels herself with good food, exercises regularly, and prioritizes her well-being. A high-value woman does not neglect herself. She knows that when she feels good physically, she operates at her best in every other area of life. She takes control of her health because without it, success means nothing. Think about your environment. The people you surround yourself with will either push you forward or pull you back. A woman who levels up does not waste time with people who are stuck in the past, complaining about life or making excuses. She surrounds herself with winners, with visionaries, with people who inspire her to be better. She understands that her circle is her power, and she chooses her company wisely. People who were never meant to meet them. She simply walks away and lets her absence do the talking. Imagine you are in a relationship where you constantly have to fight for attention, for love, for respect. You send messages that go unanswered. You make effort that is not reciprocated. And you keep hoping that one day they will change. But deep down you know the truth. They will not. And the longer you stay, the more you betray yourself. The day you decide to walk away, something shifts. Suddenly the same person who ignored you is chasing you. The same person who took you for granted is now realizing your worth. But it is too late. Because when a high-value woman walks away, she does not come back. Walking away is not just about relationships. It is about every aspect of life. It is about knowing when to leave a toxic job that drains your soul. It is about stepping away from friendships that are built on jealousy and competition. It is about removing yourself from any space where you are constantly disrespected, undervalued, or made to feel small. A woman who knows her power does not stay in situations that diminish her. She does not tolerate half love, half effort, or half respect. She walks away with her head held high, knowing that her value is non-negotiable. There's something incredibly powerful about a woman who does not beg for attention, love, or approval. She knows that real respect is never demanded. It is inspired. And if someone does not see her worth, she does not waste her time trying to convince them. She simply removes herself. Because a woman who truly values herself understands that rejection is simply redirection to something greater. Picture this. You are in a meeting at work. You have brilliant ideas. You contribute. You bring value. But you notice that your voice is constantly overlooked. You see your ideas being dismissed. Yet when someone else says the same thing, suddenly it is recognized. A low-value woman would shrink, would try harder, would seek validation. But a high-value woman, she knows her worth. And instead of staying in an environment where she is unappreciated, she finds a place that sees her brilliance. She walks away and she walks into something better. Walking away is a mindset. It is the realization that your energy is precious and not everyone deserves access to it. It is understanding that some people only respect your presence once they feel your absence. It is knowing that every time you choose to walk away from what no longer serves you, think about the most iconic women in history. Did they beg for a seat at the table? Did they stay where they were disrespected? No. They created their own tables. They built their own empires. They walked away from mediocrity and into greatness. Because they knew one thing for sure. When you refuse to settle, the universe has no choice but to give you what you truly deserve. There will always be people who test your boundaries, who see how far they can push you before you break. But a woman who knows her worth does not break. She walks. She does not fight for a spot in someone's life. She does not argue for respect. She does not explain herself over and over again to people who refuse to listen. She values her peace too much. And when she leaves, she does not do it with bitterness. She does it with power. Walking away like a boss means you do not entertain disrespect, you do not lower your standards, and you do not cling to things out of fear of being alone. It means you trust yourself enough to know that what is ahead of you is far greater than what you are leaving behind. It means understanding that sometimes the best revenge is no revenge at all. Just walking away and letting success be your response. A high-value woman walks away not because she is weak, but because she is strong enough to choose herself. There is something undeniably captivating about a woman who does not reveal everything at once. A woman who moves with quiet confidence, who speaks less but says more. She walks into a room and people feel her presence before she even utters a word. She is not desperate for attention, yet all eyes are on her. She is not loud, yet people hang on to her every word. This is the power of mystery. A high-value woman understands that not everything needs to be explained. Not every thought needs to be shared, and not every emotion needs to be exposed. She guards her essence, and in doing so she commands respect, curiosity, and admiration. Look at the most iconic women in history. They never laid all their cards on the table. They never tried too hard to be understood. Instead, they let the world wonder. They let people guess. Because mystery is power. It keeps people intrigued. It makes them want more. The moment you become an open book, you lose your allure. When people feel like they know everything about you, they stop being interested. But when there is always something about you that they cannot quite figure out, that is when you become unforgettable. Imagine walking into a party and seeing two women. One is talking non-stop, oversharing details about her life, desperate to impress everyone in the room. The other is calm, composed, offering small glimpses into her world, but never revealing too much. The first woman might get attention for a moment, but the second woman, she will be remembered. People will wonder about her, they will want to know more. And that is the power of mystery. It draws people in without you having to chase them. Mystery is not about being cold or distant. It is about being selective. It is about understanding that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your plans, your emotions. A high-value woman does not announce her next move, she just makes it. She does not seek validation. She knows who she is. She does not explain herself. She lets her actions speak for her. This is why a woman with mystery is irresistible. She does not give people the satisfaction of figuring her out too easily. She keeps them on their toes. She keeps them guessing. Think about relationships. When you reveal too much too soon, you lose your power. When you are always available, always explaining, always predictable, people take you for granted. But when you maintain an element of unpredictability, when you do not respond to every message instantly, when you do not overshare your feelings, you create intrigue. And intrigue is what keeps people invested. A woman who is too available loses her value. A woman who is too easy to read becomes ordinary, but a woman with mystery, she becomes unforgettable. In the workplace, the same rule applies. The woman who constantly seeks approval, who over-explains her work,